Right, welcome back to another game of On Base Baseball. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of On Base. In this game, I'm going to play the 1980 Los Angeles Dodgers against the 1980 St. Louis Cardinals. This is played in St. Louis on July 22nd. It's a replay. And what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to announce that the first official printed product for Clark and Addison is alive. It's live and ready for you to purchase. So you can pick that up in the link. I'll put the link in the description where you can go to get this. But it'll be the 1980 season, and it's in this printed and bound volume here. You can see it's a spiral binding. But you're going to get the roster sheets for 1980, and that will come with both the batters and the pitchers. You can see the pitchers here. I had a couple of, this is a proof, and I had kind of an error here where the last few players bled onto the back cover. So I've since corrected that, and I put some different material just about on-base baseball, a little bit of marketing material on the inside back cover. And then so you can go and pick that up. But I corrected those sort of mistakes that were there. But otherwise, everything is as you're going to see it. Essentially, you get the entire 1980 season in one booklet. So all you need is your book. You need 2 D6 dice. If you're playing with a D10, you can use the D10. The game calls for a D9. If you have one of those, most people probably don't. But playing with a D10 is more than acceptable. In this game, I'm also going to add in just a little extra for me. This is a ground ball on an infield in, and these are ground balls to the different players. So I'm going to add that into the game as part of the mix for myself, just to see how that works and see how it goes. It's similar. It's the exact same sheet I use for precision baseball, except it's been calculated for 2 D6s, 2 D10s, or 3 D10s. So we use the 3 D10s for precision baseball, but in this game we'll be using the 2 D6 because that's what we have primarily here. Well, I wanted to show you how do you exactly use this book. So just wanted, since it's available and you can purchase it, it's $19.99. You get the entire season printed in this bound form. And what you do is you want to find first your batters. Oh, I should say that too. So the game engine chart is printed here. So we'll be playing off of this. But whenever you're actually using the teams to fill out the score sheet, you're going to want to just use the statistics that are available to you. So let's go through, and this will serve as our way to go through the lineup as well. So leading off is going to be Pedro Guerrero. So we want to find the Dodgers first. So we have our Dodgers here. You can see LA starts here with Steve Garvey and goes down to Gary Weiss. So we look for Pedro Guerrero. He's here. And these are really the 3 key stats. So this is going to be his batting runs, defense, and speed. Those are the ones that we're most concerned about. And so we want to say 9 minus 4. And that's really all you have to do. So we're transferring this data onto our score sheet so that we can play straight off the score sheet, which will make it a lot easier than looking off of this data sheet every time. So then we look for Bill Russell. He's here. Minus 10. Plus 5. Randy Smith. 23 plus 2. And this number here is what we're going to use to play off of the actual game engine chart if the roll goes over to the batter's side of the chart. Steve Garvey is first, 23 minus 2. Dusty Baker. Where is Dusty? Should be up here. 26 minus 4. This is a pretty good squad. There's a lot of good hitters. 19 plus 2. Not fast, but good hitters. Mickey Hatcher. Minus 6 plus 2. Steve Yeager. Minus 14 plus 2. And Don Sutton. Pitchers are on here as batters, so minus 13 plus 3. And then we'll deal with the pitchers in just a minute, but that takes care of Los Angeles, and we'll go to St. Louis. So we have the Cardinals here. I don't know if you're getting a glare off of that or not. Hopefully you can see that okay. It's a little glary right there for me. So first off is Gary Templeton. Templeton is playing shortstop, 6 plus 8. So very good speed with an 8. That's 8 out of 10. He'll be safe if he runs stealing from first. Leon Durham, he's playing in right field. He'll be a 1 plus 6 speedy player. Keith Hernandez, the great Keith Hernandez, 42 plus 6. So just an excellent player. Let's see, he had a 6.9 WAR, 159, or 6.9 WAR, 155 weighted runs created plus. So terrific player. 27 plus 3 for Ted Simmons. George Hendrick, 21 minus 4. Dane Jorg, 6 minus 3. Ken Wrights, minus 9 minus 1. Ken Oberkfell, 12 plus 4. And Jim Cott is a lefty batter, minus 4 plus 6. So pretty good speed for Jim Cott. The speed rating is an old sabermetric rating from Bill James. It's on a 1 to 10 scale, so that's why I like to use it. It's not the best measure of a player's ability to steal bases or anything like that, but it does fit nicely into the game. So, for the Dodgers, it's Don Sutton, who can go 26 for his stamina. So we're going to say 3, 4, 6, and a 26. And then for Jim Cott, is they got him listed at an 11 for his stamina and a 3, 5, 6. So we'll see how that goes for St. Louis. It's not a great stamina, so they're going to be reaching into the bullpen. Okay, so that's it. So now we have everything set up there, and we're going to pull out our game engine chart. Let's see if I can get that into focus a little bit more. And so when you're playing on-base baseball, this is really all that you need. This is the full setup. Again, I'm going to use these on on ground ball outs, just to get a little more precise base runner movement. But other than that, the game is all contained within the game engine chart here. This is the 1980s decade, which has been optimized for 1980s baseball. So you get the correct percentage of pitchers doing things, the things that they do, and getting them into their right percentages as far as strikeouts and home runs and things like that. And then you also have the batters with the correct percentage of the things that they do as well, based off of the average batters in each column. Now this game plays a little bit like ABBA and a little bit like Strat. So you're going to roll, and then our roll first, we look off of the pitchers columns over here. And then if it's a blank, we'll go to the hitters. If there's a result, then we'll take that result and not go over to the batters column. And the way we read the columns is, well, Jim Cott's going to start us off, and he'll be a 3-5-6, and that's a 3-5-6 FIP. So we're going to be looking here in the 350 to 425 FIP range. So the only result he's going to affect is a 24. Essentially, these are your most average pitchers. That's kind of how you can see that. And then each pitcher with their batting rating here. This is corresponding to a column here. So Pedro Guerrero is a 9. He's going to be in the -5 to 10 batting range here. And then there's 10 to 30 and 30 plus. 30 plus are your sort of perennial MVPs. This is where Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth and Mark McGwire and you name it. I mean, anybody, Mickey Mantle, those are the kind of guys that are going to be in this here. You can see Keith Hernandez, who had an MVP caliber season. He is going to be in this column. He's the only column 1 batter. There are several in the 10 to 30. These are more like your all-star type players, almost MVP type, all-stars, guys who with a little bit of luck would have been into the MVP race, that kind of thing. So you've got Dusty Baker very close at a 26, Ted Simmons very close at a 27, and then anybody with a 20 or greater batting runs is, it's a pretty salty offensive player. Here is your most average players. So a little bit above average to a little below average. And then these guys are going to be your poorest hitters. So often you're going to find your pitchers here. Although Jim Cott will find himself here. Don Sutton, definitely in this last category. So, and then we have a few reminders, I guess, down here, just what to do on a sacrifice bunt, a squeeze bunt, what to do on tagging plays, and how to figure which player gets the ball on flyouts and groundouts and stuff like that. So let's get into this one. This is Los Angeles at St. Louis, July 22nd, 1980. I also have score sheets for this. Let's see. These are what my score sheets look like for that. And then this is one that's at-bat by at-bat. So it's got 7 at-bats here. And you just kind of go straight up and down instead of going in sort of a typical diagonal fashion with the inning by inning. Although I do have a traditional inning by inning score sheet as well if you like that. And basically what you have here is your bat position, how the batter bats, batting, defense, and speed. So I have actually 3 columns there listed for each of the gameplay values for on-base baseball. So if you prefer to do that, you can, and then you would just have to fill in the names and stuff. I get this from digidugout.com, which makes it super easy if you're doing just a straight up replay with as-played lineups. All right, so let's get into this one. This is going to be Pedro Guerrero, Bill Russell, and Reggie Smith leading off against Jim Cott for the Cardinals. A 22, that's going to be a good start. 22 is going to be, you can see here, it's a blank all the way across. And a 22 usually is a double or triple. And when we look at a 9, this is where Pedro Guerrero is. It says a double or a triple if the D10 is an 8 or greater. It's a 9, and so Pedro Guerrero, just like that, starts off with a triple to right field. And he slides in safely to third. With a leadoff triple, that's a good start. Bill Russell to the plate, he's a -10. And 11 is going to be a blank here. And then an 11 for a -10. That says a single with a plus. And a 6, when we look at singles, we're thinking about the outfield, so I use the same one as a flyout. So 1 to 3 is left field, 4 to 6 is center field, 7 to 9 is right field. So it's a single to center field. We need to do an error check. That's what the plus sign means. The plus is here. It says an error check. If the defensive value of the fielder is negative, then there's an error on a roll of 1 or 2. If it's a positive, then there's an error on a roll of 1. You can see he has, the center fielder is a minus, George Hendrick. So if I roll a 1 or 2, it's going to be a single within a 1-base error. It's a 4. So it's going to be a base hit to center field. He's going to get an RBI for driving in Guerrero from third. And just like that, LA takes a 1-0 lead. Now Bill Russell, a speed of 5, not a real threat to steal. That means he's about a 50% chance. 44, that's going to be a blank, and a 44 to a 23 is going to be a walk. So not a great start here for Jim Cott, as he's got 2 on with nobody out and 1 already in. A 25 to Steve Garvey is going to be a fly out with an error check. So it's a fly ball to right field. No error on the play. And that'll be out number 1. Runners hold. Brings up Dusty Baker. A 66 to a 26 is going to be a double for Dusty Baker, as the Los Angeles offense is relentless. So we're going to get 2 bases here, 2 bases here, and Reggie Smith is just a 2 speed, so we're going to leave him there at third base. So second and third now with 1 out and 2 already in for the Dodgers. This is going to be a fly out. This is a long fly ball from Ronsay. Any 16s are going to be a fly out with an arrow to the right. And a fly out with an arrow to the right means fly out with and all runners advance that are on base. So this is like a deep fly ball to the wall kind of thing. That's hit to center field. So we're going to call it F8, and really it's going to be SF8 because it's going to be a sac fly. With less than 2 outs, it's going to score the run from third base. And he gets an RBI, and moving to third base is going to be Dusty Baker. So all runners move up. They do get the out, and it's going to be 2 outs now. 3 runs are already in for the Dodgers, and Mickey Hatcher stands in. 44, good chance of a walk here. Let's see. 44 is a walk. And that puts runners at first and third for Steve Yeager, a 14. Let's see here. Yeager is a -14, so it's going to be a hit by pitch or a walk if the D10 is a 2 or greater. It's a 1, so he plunks. He plunks the batter. And it'll be the pitcher, Don Sutton. A 36 to Sutton will be a fly out, and that goes out to center field. And that's going to end a threat. But the Dodgers do bat around. They score 3 runs, and they take a 3-0 lead over St. Louis. It'll be Don Sutton against Gary Templeton, Leon Durham, and Keith Hernandez. Gary Templeton to the plate. So Don Sutton is a 3-4-6, which puts him in this first column. So Cott's pitching out of the second column. He's pitching out of the first column, and Cott is almost to his stamina. I mean, we're about to have to take him out. So a little bit of a strange choice, I guess, for that, but we'll just see how it goes. Basically, what you do is you would drop him one column. We could maybe get another inning or two out of him. A 14 is going to be a blank off the pitcher. So going to a 6 batting runs. 14 is going to be a hit by pitcher or walk. The D10 is a 6, so that's going to be a walk. He's an 8, so let's go ahead and try to steal. He's a 1 to 8 for a stolen base. It's a 5, and he's in there easily. And so Templeton steals second, and there'll be a runner at second base with nobody out. Leon Durham to the plate. 35 to a 1 batting runs is going to be a ground out. So that grounder goes to the third baseman. He'll look the runner back to second base. Actually, that's our perfect time, right? Let's see. Hit to the third baseman. I forgot about our ground ball chart here. And we have a runner at second base. It's a 7. A 7 is going to be a 5-3 put out, and the runner stays. The runner holds. So if the arrow is going this way, the runner holds. If it's going that way, then the runner advances, just like on the chart here. So 5-3, the runner holds. And it's going to be Keith Hernandez to the plate. Hernandez is a 42 batting run, so a 36 is going to be a big fly. Oh, actually, you know what? It's a walk. So he avoids the home run, and instead he's going to walk Keith Hernandez. That'll be runners at first and second. Got to look at that pitcher first. We got a 66 on a 27. That's going to be a 2-bagger as he laces one down the left field line. And will anyone get anyone out in this game? That's the question. So double scores a run. Keith Hernandez is a 6. We're going to try to score him from first. As he's chugging around, he's a 1 to 6 to score. It's a 6, and he's in there just ahead of the tag. And that's going to be a 2 RBI double for Ted Simmons. As he gets St. Louis on the board, 2 runs are in, 1 out, and 1 on for George Hendrick. Hendrick is a 21. 36 is going to be another walk. So runners at first and second for Dane Jorg. Jorg is a 6. So that's going to be a hit by pitch. And that loads the bases. As Don Sutton in a little bit of hot water here, Ken Wrights to the plate. A 36 to Wrights is going to be another walk, and Sutton walks home the third run of the game, the tying run. As St. Louis comes back with 3 of their own in the first inning. 26 to Ken Obergfell. 26 to a 12 is going to be a single with an error check. So that's a single to center field. And an error on the play on top of that. So that's a base hit. And he'll score. Everybody moves up. And then he'll score on the error. E8. He advances on the error. And 2, 4, 5 runs are in. An offensive game here. Jim Cott, who is a -4, he's in this batting column here. And a 34 is going to be a long single. That's going to score everybody. So a 2-run single for Jim Cott. And 2 long innings here. 2, 4, 6, 7 runs. So it's now 7-3 St. Louis. A 14 and that's going to be another walk. That's runners at first and second. Another 14. Another walk. They just happen to be rolling all the wrong numbers here. And 11 is going to be a strikeout finally. That'll be out number 2. That'll hold the runners. Bases loaded, 2 down. Ted Simmons to the plate. A 56 is going to be to a 27. That's going to be another walk. And that's going to walk in a run. Which brings up George Hendrick to the plate. A 33 is a strikeout. So disastrous first inning, as they score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 runs in the first. So it's 8-3 after 1 inning of play, 11 runs already in. And we're going to roll Jim Cott out there again. See how he does. He's facing off against Pedro Guerrero, Bill Russell, and Reggie Smith, just like the last inning. So a 34 to a 9 batting runs is going to be a long single. And that's a base hit to left field. Pedro Guerrero is at first. A 35 to a -10. That's going to be a double play or a strikeout. So that double play will go to the first baseman. Since there is a double play situation, we'll go ahead and take that. So that's going to be out number 1 and out number 2 as they go 3-6-3 on the double play. Reggie Smith stands in. He is a 23 batting runs. So 26 to him is going to be a single with an error check. So we check the error to left field. No problem out there. And Reggie Smith is on with a base hit and 2 outs. Steve Garvey to the plate, a 25 to a 23 is going to be a fly out with an error check. That's a fly ball down the left field line. No error on the play, and that'll be out number 3. As the left fielder Dane Yorg makes the play. And Jim Cott gets out of the second. A much better inning there. And we'll see how Dandy Don Sutton here does. He's got Yorg, Wrights, and Oberkfell. A 34 to a 6 batting runs is going to be a long single, and that's down the right field line. He's got a speed of 3, so he's just going to take a big turn and come back to first. Brings up Ken Wrights. This will be a long fly ball that goes to deep left field. Making the catch in left field is going to be Dusty Baker, but he's out by the wall. Tagging up is going to be the runner at first, and he moves up to second base. So it'll be 1 out with a man in scoring position for Ken Oberkfell. 46 to a 12 batting runs. That's going to be a line out or a pop out. So this is a 6. So that's going to be a line drive out. And that's going to be right back to the pitcher. And staying at second base will be Dane Yorg. And Jim Cott to the plate. And 25 to a -4 is going to be a fly out with an error check. That's out to right field. And that's going to be an error, E9 in right. So that's actually going to allow the runner to score. That I treat that like a single. Because people would be running on the play with 2 outs. So Yorg scores, makes it an even 9 for the St. Louis Cardinals. And Gary Templeton back up. He's got 2 walks and a run scored. He's got a 14. A 14 to a 6 batting runs is going to be another hit by pitch. as he comes inside. And going down to first is Gary Templeton. Leon Durham, he is 1 for 2. He's a +1 batting runs. A 34 to him is going to be a long single. And that will push the runner to third. For him, that's going to turn into a double. If he has a 6 speed or greater, that turns into a double. That's going to score this run from second as Jim Cott comes in to score. And Keith Hernandez to the plate. Hernandez is going to ground out to the pitcher. This will be the third out of the inning as he tosses it to first. And that's the end of that. But they do get 2 more runs. It's now 10-3, St. Louis over Los Angeles. We're going to send Jim Cott out there. He's at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 batters. So he's past his stamina. And when we do that, you can keep the player in the game or you can take him out, whatever you want to do. But what we do is he started in this column, so we're going to put him in this column here. So whatever results are here in the next column down, those are the results that we're going to use for him. So it's facing Dusty Baker, Ron Cey, and Mickey Hatcher. 45 to a 26 batting runs is going to be a long single, and that's hit into the gap in right center field. Dusty Baker, with only a 4 speed, is going to stop at first. He's 2 for 2 with an RBI. We got a 33 to Ron Cey, and 33 misses that. Cey is a 19 batting runs, and that is left out over the plate, and he deposits it into the left center or the left field stands for a 2-run homer as LA tries to get back into this one. Brings up Mickey Hatcher. 2 in the inning and nobody out. This is going to be a ground out right back to the pitcher, and he'll flip it over to first for out number 1. Brings up Steve Yeager. Yeager a -14 batting runs, and a 13 is here, and that's going to be a ground out to the shortstop. How do you know it's shortstop? Because it says here on ground outs, if a D9 is a 1 to 6, then you look at the position number. 7 or 8 is a shortstop. 9 is to the second baseman. So 2 outs and 2 in. And let's go ahead and get a pinch hitter. Let me get a pinch hitter for Don Sutton. You know, I changed my mind. We'll just leave him out there. He's still okay with his stamina. We got to get at least another inning out of him. A 13 to a -13 is going to be a ground out that goes to second base. So after allowing a 2-run homer, Jim Cott gets all 3 runs, or all 3 of the next batters, and that's going to be a 2 spot up there. It's now 10-5 after 2.5. Not the ideal start, but we're working through it. Okay, it'll be Simmons, Hendrick, and Jorg for the Cardinals. They're facing off against Don Sutton. Sutton's still in this column 1 here. 12 is going to be a ground out to short, and that's going to be out number 1, a little tapper. Nice play there at short by Bill Russell. 45 to a 21 batting runs is going to be a long single as that goes to right field. Not a lot of speed for George Hendrick, so he rounds first and heads back there. 34 to Dane Jorg, who has a 6 batting runs. That'll be a long single, which pushes the runner all the way to third base. So on a long single, the base runners get 1 extra base. So that'll put runners at the corners with 1 out. Ken Wright's to the plate. A 24 is to a -9. So a 24 to a -9 is going to be a double play or a strikeout, and that's exactly what they needed. That will go to the second baseman, and we'll go 4-6-3 on the double play, and that's going to get Dandy Don Sutton out of the inning. So the Cardinals threaten with a couple of base runners, but they can't get them home. And we are 3 into this one. It is 10-5, St. Louis over LA. And it'll be the top of the order coming up for St. Louis. Let's go ahead and see if Jim Cott can tap dance through this 4th inning. And we'll see if he rolls low. Maybe he will, and he'll get through it. It's Pedro Guerrero, Bill Russell, and Reggie Smith. Guerrero 2 for 2 with a single, a triple, and a run scored. A 33 is bad news, as that's going to lead to a home run. Remember, I have to drop him down one more column, and that's a home run to dead center field for Pedro Guerrero. And we're sort of at a tipping point here, and let's see how he does. A 35, I mean, he's got a 5-run lead, 4-run lead now, so we'll see. 35 to a -10, so 35 is a blank, and to a -10, that's going to be a strikeout, and that'll be a strikeout looking. So nice job by Jim Cott. He gets his first strikeout of the day. This is going to be a ground ball to the first baseman. No problem there, as he runs it to the bag himself. And that's going to be out number 2. A 12 is always a ground out with the runner advance, like a little tapper kind of ground out. And a 24 to Steve Garvey. 24 is going to be a walk off of the pitcher's column. So Garvey on base for the first time. Brings up Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker 2 for 2. 36 to a 26 is going to be a fly out. That goes out to medium left field, and that's going to be a can of corn out in left. As the left fielder Jorg makes the play. They do get one on the solo home run from Pedro Guerrero. And Jim Cott, you can see only with an 11 stamina, has gutted his way through 4 innings, which is exactly what the Cardinals needed. Don't know how long he went in the actual game, but here for us, he's pitched well enough. And the St. Louis explosion in the first inning was helpful to get him where he's at. We're at 27, 26, 25 run or batters. He can go 26, so this is his last inning. In column 1. Sutton goes out there. 45. 45 to a 12 batting runs is going to be a long single. Another base hit for Ken Oberkfell. Not good speed, so he's going to hang out at first base. And that brings up Jim Cott. Now we need to get a pinch hitter for Jim Cott. All right, so we've got a new player into the game. What I'm going to do is just do a double switch. So I'm going to bring in Tommy Herr to play second base. Ken Oberkfell will be out. And so Herr's going to come in here. He's a -7 batting runs. So we trade a little bit of offense, and we don't lose anything on the defense. Oberkfell, definitely the better player, but because we need the next pitcher to go for a little bit, we probably should do a double switch here. So it's Tommy Herr. He's got one on with nobody out. A 12 is going to be a ground out with a runner advance. That's going to be a ground out to second. So a little tapper just past the mound. The only play is to first, and that's going to advance the runner to second base. So Tommy Herr with effectively a bunt. And this is going to be a fly ball with a runner advance. That goes out to deep left center field. Just in play for the left fielder, Dusty Baker, as he catches it up against the wall. But that's going to advance the runner to third. And St. Louis has a runner at third with 2 outs. A 36, that goes to Gary Templeton. 36 is going to be a walk. So a walk will put runners at first and third for Keith Hernandez. I'm Keith Hernandez. This is a fly ball to deep left field. Going back on it hard is the left fielder Baker, and he reaches up just at the last minute. makes a catch right at the wall. And that's going to be out number 3 as he saves a couple of runs there. And St. Louis threatens, but they can't get anyone home. That's the second scoreless inning for Don Sutton, who after a disastrously bad first inning has settled in to give up only 2 runs for the last 3. So we head to the top of the 5th inning. This one is at 10-6. High scoring, but maybe not too bad. High scoring, but that's the way it is. So this is going to be, what are we looking for? We're looking for a new pitcher. Yeah, let me get a new pitcher for the Cardinals. All right, the new pitcher is going to be Don Hood. He has a 3.53 FIP, so he'll be pitching out of column number 2. And 11 is his stamina. So just like our starter Jim Cott, he'll pitch out of this first column, or second column, and then if we need to move him down, we can. Cott goes 4 innings, gives up 8 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 1 hit by pitch. And he is in line at this point for the win, amazingly enough, with that line. So let's see what Don Hood can do. He'll face off against Ron Say, Mickey Hatcher, and Steve Yeager. 34 to a 19 batting runs is going to be a fly out as he flies out to straightaway left field. No problem out in left field for Jorg, and that'll bring up Mickey Hatcher. Hatcher over 1. 34 to Hatcher. He is a -6, so that's going to be a base hit into right center field. And Mickey Hatcher with his first hit of the day brings up Steve Yeager, a 56. 56 to a -14 is going to be a strikeout, and that's going to be a strikeout looking. Just the second strikeout of the day for this LA lineup. Sorry, it's out number 2. And we got a runner at first base with 2 down. And we actually need to get a new... Actually, I'm going to leave Don Sutton in there and try to get a little length out of him if we can. 26 to a -13 is going to be a ground out with an error check. So we'll check the first baseman. There's no error on the play. And he's going to flip it to the pitcher who's covering. And that'll be out number 3. So a quick inning there for the new pitcher Don Hood, as he gets the bottom of the Los Angeles order. Only the second scoreless inning for the Dodgers. So each team now with 2 scoreless innings. We're going to send Don Sutton back out there. He's going to be in column number 2 now, since he has passed his stamina of 26 batters. He'll face off against Simmons, Hendrick, and Jorg. A 26 to a 27 batting runs is going to be a single with an error check. So it's a base hit down the right field line. We check the error on right field, and there is no error. So staying at first base will be Ted Simmons. He's on for the 3rd time in this game. 24 goes to George Hendrick. This time it's going to be a ground out here based off of the pitcher. So we got a ground out to second base. So let's see what happens on this play. So we got our second baseman, got a runner at first. And let's roll for the result. 8 is going to be a 4-6-3 double play. I have double plays that are automatic on here, and then I have some with a question mark. If it's a question mark, I'm going to take the force out at second, and then I'm going to roll against the batter's speed to see if he beats it out at first. But this time it's just a straight up 4-6-3 double play. So that's going to be out number 1, out number 2, and that erases the base runners off the base paths. Brings up Dane Jorg. Jorg on base all 3 times. Not going to happen here, as he's got a 23. A 23 is a ground out with an error check. So it's a ground out to first base. And we'll check the error on Steve Garvey, who's a minus fielder. That's a 7, so he's going to make the play. He throws it to the pitcher covering. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for Don Sutton, who goes out into the 5th and makes it happen for the Dodgers. 10-6 is our scores. We head to the top of the 6th inning. It'll be back to the top of the order with Pedro Guerrero, Bill Russell, and Reggie Smith. They're facing off against Don Hood, working in his 2nd inning of work. Hood pitching out of column number 2. A 24 is the only pitcher result there. So 36 to a +9 batting runs is going to be a base hit. That's right up the middle as he bounces one through the infield. And Pedro Guerrero is on for the 4th time. He's 4 for 4. This will be to the shortstop Bill Russell. So a 13 is going to be a ground out. And that's a ground ball to shortstop. Let's see what happens there as we use our normal depth plays. So we got a runner at first. It's a 10. And runner at first is a 6-4 double play chance. So this is what I was just talking about. So we're going to take the out at second for sure. So it's going to be a fielder's choice. That'll be out number 1. And let's roll against Bill Russell's speed, which is a 5. 1-5, he'll be safe. 6-10, he'll be out at first. It's a 50-50 chance. The throw is coming across from the second baseman, which is Tommy Herr now. It's a 4, and he just beats it out at first base. So he's on with a 6-4 fielder's choice. And that'll bring up Reggie Smith to the plate. Reggie Smith, 1 single in 3 at-bats. He's going to fly out to deep right center field. The center fielder is George Hendrick. He's going back on it, makes a nice catch over his shoulder. And that's going to lead to an out, but it is going to allow the runner to advance, as that one hung up long enough for Bill Russell to get back and make it into second base. So man in scoring position for Steve Garvey. 2 down, a 46 to a 23 batting runs. Is going to be a line out or pop out. That's a line out. And that line drive goes to center field. And making the catch is the center fielder, George Hendrick, who's made a couple of nice plays in this inning, going back and coming in. And that's going to lead to another 0 for Los Angeles as this game settles in just a little bit after that wild and wacky first inning. It's 10-6, but we haven't had a score since the 4th inning. And we are going to send Don Sutton out there one more time. He's going to be pitching out of column 3. We're going to give him a very short leash as he's facing the bottom of the order. Ken Wrights, then the pitcher spot, and then Tommy Herr. An 11 to a -9 is a single, and that is a base hit up the middle. We need to do an error check, no error on the play. So that's going to be a base hit for Ken Wrights. Now we have the pitcher spot up. So let's go ahead and get a pinch hitter here. Not a lot of great pinch hit options, bench options for the St. Louis Cardinals, but we'll do our best. All right, and coming into the game is going to be Mike Ramsey. He'll come in to pinch hit for the pitcher. So we'll have to bring in a new pitcher. Hood goes a couple of innings on a really nice performance, a couple of zeros against LA. Ramsey is going to ground out here. That's going to be to the shortstop, but it's just a little tapper. The only play is going to be to first base, and that is as effective as a bunt. And so we are going to make it ourselves to Tommy Herr. Herr is a -7 batting runs. 16 is going to be a deep fly ball. That goes out to straightaway right field. It is playable, but tagging up at second is going to be the runner, Ken Wrights. But 2 outs now with a man in scoring position for Gary Templeton. 25 will be to a 6 batting runs. 25 is going to be a fly out with an error check. So that's to right center field as the right fielder, Mickey Hatcher, is running it down in the gap. 0 doesn't mean anything. And he will make the catch. And that's going to prevent a run from scoring. That's the 3rd out of the inning. A couple of Nice plays in right field from Mickey Hatcher. And St. Louis goes down in the 6th. That's 4 straight scoreless innings for Don Sutton, as he gave up 10 in the first 2. But it's evened out that average just a little bit. So I think that's going to be the end of Sutton's day. We'll see if we get to him here. We might keep him in for one more. I don't know. We need a new pitcher, though. That's for sure, for St. Louis. All right, into the game is Jim Otten. He's got a 3.60 FIP and can go 8 batters for his stamina. He replaces Don Hood, who goes 2 innings, gives up 2 hits and no runs, 1 strikeout, no walks, and has done a fine job for the St. Louis Cardinals, who lead this one 10-6 going into the top of the 7th inning. It'll be the middle of the order: Dusty Baker, Ron Say, and Mickey Hatcher. And 11, so Otten is pitching out of this second column. And 11 to a 26 is going to be a walk, as Dusty Baker on again. He only has 4 speed, so it's not really a stealing threat, about 40%. Ron Say to the plate. Say with a 2-run homer in this game. He's not going to have that kind of luck here, as he's got a 55 to a 19. It is going to be a double play or a strikeout. So this is actually a tapper in front of the plate. And we're going to get the old rare 2-6-3 double play, as they get the runner down at first. Takes just the right hop for the catcher, Simmons, and he makes a nice play down to first base. 2-6-3 is the double play, and that will be 2 outs in the inning. Mickey Hatcher to the plate. He's 1 for 2, sorry. 33 to a -6 is going to be a ground out, as he grounds out to second base. With nobody on base, I'm not going to use the ground ball chart, because there's only one play. I really only use that when there's runners on base and just a regular ground out. Okay, that's going to be the end of the inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Jim Otten. Nice job by the St. Louis bullpen to come in and clean things up after the shortish Jim Cott start, 4 innings. And we are headed to the bottom of the 7th inning. The question is, do we send Don Sutton out there? I think we do. He's going to be in this column here. And if he starts getting tagged, we got to get him out of there. 35 to Leon Durham. 35 is going to be a blank here. Durham is a +1. So that's going to be a ground out. That goes to the shortstop. No problem at short for Bill Russell, as he makes a nice peg over to first, and that's going to be the first out of the inning. Keith Hernandez to the plate. Hernandez 0 for 3. He does have a walk and a run scored, and he's going to get something here as he hits a double into the left center field gap going the other way. That one bounces off the wall, and he will cruise into second base with a 1-out double. How do I know? Because it's a double or a triple on a 22. So some results actually do come back over and over. So you kind of get into the rhythm. Helps to speed up the game just a little bit. And that brings up Ted Simmons. Simmons is 2 for 3. He's got a single, a double, and a walk. He's got 3 RBIs in this game. He, with a 46 is going to be a line out or a pop out, depending on this rule. That's going to be a line out, and that goes to the pitcher. And nice reaction time there by the pitcher, Don Sutton, who's tired but still fielding his position well. And he's actually a plus defender, so that's good. And that's going to hold the runner at second base. And George Hendrick to the plate. A 14 is going to be a base hit, and that's going to score the run from second base, as Don Sutton almost weaseled his way out of that one. But that's going to be an RBI single that makes it 11-6, and a 35 to Dane Yorg. A 35 will be a ground out that goes to the second baseman. Nope, actually we should just roll for that, I guess. make sure there's nothing crazy on the play. An 8 shouldn't be anything crazy on the play. A 4-6, that's going to be the play. So we'll call it a 4-6 and not a 4-3, just to go by the book there. As the second baseman flips it to Bill Russell, that's going to be Guerrero Russell, and that is out number 3. But St. Louis does put 1 on the board with the RBI single from George Hendrick, and that makes the score 11-6 as we head to the top of the 8th. Don Sutton taking one on the chin today. He did give them 7 strong innings and gave up 11 runs, but nothing after the first inning, really, 3, which would have been a very reasonable start. So we head to the top of the 8th inning. We're going to send Jim Otten out there again. He's only faced 3 batters. He'll be looking at Steve Yeager, then the pitcher spot, and then back to the top of the order. So Otten to Steve Yeager. It's a 36 here, and Steve Yeager is a -14. So that's going to be a fly out to left field. That's a can of corn out there. And the play is made. Let's get a new pitcher or pinch hitter in for the Dodgers. All right, and the new batter is going to be Mike Scioscia. I'm just going to go ahead and replace Steve Yeager, the catcher, with Mike Scioscia. Don't even know if Scioscia was available on July 22nd. I'm just playing off of what we got on the roster. And he's going to come in here in the 8th inning as a -3 batting runs, plus defender, and a 3 speed. So actually a little bit better player than Steve Yeager. And we'll move the pitcher spot here as we do a little double switch. And maybe we won't face the pitcher spot again. We'll see. Jim Otten is pitching well. He's got 1 out. He's facing Mike Scioscia, the lefty. A 45 to a -3 batting runs is going to be a single with an error check. So that's a base hit for the newly inserted catcher, Scioscia. Base hit down the left field line. And the error, there is no error. So that's going to be a base hit for Mike Scioscia. He'll be at first base, 1 for 1 for his day. Brings up Pedro Guerrero. A 13, I believe it's going to be a ground out. It is. And that'll be a ground ball to the catcher. So we do have the catcher on here. And let's see what happens with the runner at first base. This is an 11. An 11 says a 2-3 put out with an arrow going that way, which means that the runner advances. So the only play is to first base, so we'll tap her out in front of the plate. So we're going to get the put out at first. That'll be out number 2, but the runner does advance on the fielder's choice. And we got a runner in scoring position now for Bill Russell. Base hit, scores a run. They need him desperately. They're down 11-6. And a 15 may or may not do it. It's a 15 to a -10 is a ground out, and that'll be a ground ball to the second baseman. As Bill Russell rolls over that one, hits it to second base, and that's going to be all she wrote in the 8th inning. As the Dodgers put 1 in scoring position, but they can't get them home. They are still down 11-6 in this one, and we need to insert a new pitcher for the Dodgers. All right, so into the game for the Dodgers is going to be Bobby Castillo. Castillo, 3.46 FIP, can go 6 batters for his stamina. He replaces Don Sutton. Sutton grinded out 7 innings, 12 hits, 11 runs. Not sure how many of those are earned. I'd have to tally that up. 7 walks, ouch, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, that's 8 walks. 7 of those came in the first inning. So it was a rough first for him. So actually, that's not true. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th. Yeah. That was all the first inning. Ouch. All right. Anyway, putting that behind them, they're down 11-6, and Castillo is into the game. He's facing off against Ken Wrights. the pitcher spot and Tommy Herr. Bottom of the order for the Cardinals. Castillo pitching out of this first column, a 45 to a -9. That's going to be a base hit, a long single. Ken Wright's no speed there, so he's going to round first and get right back. He's now 2 for 4. And let's get a new pinch hitter for the Cardinals. All right, the new pinch hitter is going to be Bobby Bonds, coming in off the bench, pinch hitting here in the 8th. He is a -8 batting runs. His speed is 8 though, so if he gets on base. He's got Ken Wright at first base. Castillo to the plate. A 14 to a -8 is going to be a hit by pitch as he plunks Bobby Bonds. That'll put runners at first and second. And it'll be Tommy Herr to the plate. A 35 to Tommy Herr. He's a -7, so a 35 is going to be a double play or a strikeout. We do have a double play in order here. Let's go ahead and go 3-6-3. So we're going to cut down the runner here. That'll be out number 1, out number 2, and then this runner at third is going to move, or second is going to move over to third. So we'll have a runner at third with 2 down, and Gary Templeton coming up. Templeton a +6 batting runs. 56 to a +6 is going to be a strikeout as he strikes out looking, and that quells the threat. So 3 down in the 8th. St. Louis threatens to score, but they can't get one across. And we go to the top of the 9th inning. This should be it for LA. They're down 11-6. They're going to need a heck of a comeback. And we're going to have to bring in a new pitcher for the Cardinals. All right, into the game is going to be John Littlefield. The Cardinals leaving nothing to chance here. They're up by a score of 11-6. But they're bringing in one of their best relievers. He's a 3-4-3 FIP. So he'll be pitching out of this column 1. 5 is his stamina. He's basically the closer for them. Had 9 saves in 1980. Good performance here from the bullpen. The last of which was Jim Otten, who goes 2 innings, gives up 1 hit and no runs, 1 walk and no strikeouts. And he has kept LA scoreless for the next couple of innings. So we go to the top of the 9th inning. St. Louis trying to close the door at home against the mighty Dodgers. And Littlefield's going to have to earn this one. He's going to have to go through Reggie Smith, Steve Garvey, and Dusty Baker. All 3 20-plus batting runs hitters. So first up is Reggie Smith. Reggie Smith 1 for 3. He does have a run scored. And so we're looking here at a 46. 46 is going to be a line out or a pop-up. That's going to be a line drive. And because we can't hit a line drive to the catcher, that turns into a pop-up. It says here if a D9 is a 2 on a line out, then change it to a pop-up to the catcher. So we're going to go P2 on that, as that is out number 1. So 1 down with Steve Garvey coming to the plate. Garvey over 3. We get a 24, and a 24 is going to be a strikeout as Littlefield gets him swinging. And that's out number 2. And that'll bring up Dusty Baker. Baker 2 for 3. He's got a double, a single, an RBI, a run scored, a walk. He's done a little bit of everything, but here he is going to strike out as he gets caught looking with a hand in the cookie jar. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for John Littlefield as he sits down the Dodgers in order in the 9th. And St. Louis is going to take this one by a score of 11-6. I'll set the pause and come back with the totals. All right, and we are back with the totals in this one. So the score is 11-6, St. Louis over Los Angeles as they win at home. For LA, it's 6 runs on 11 hits and 2 errors. For St. Louis, it's 11 runs on 13 hits and no errors. So both teams banging out a lot of hits. 11 runs scored out of the 17 came in the first 2 innings. So very uncharacteristic. They were just basically getting all the right rolls at that point against a first level pitcher in Don Sutton. Sutton did go 7 innings. He's going to take the L in this one. Getting the victory is Don Hood. I believe he should get the victory in this one. He goes 2 innings. And Jim Cott just couldn't make it to qualify for the win. He pitched 4 innings. Good job by the bullpen here, giving up just 3 hits and no runs over the last 5 innings of the game. Really settled things down. Castillo came in, pitch stays scoreless. 8th for Los Angeles, just a rough first inning for both pitchers. We got a home run from Ron Say. That's a 2-run shot. We got a solo homer from Guerrero. And for the Cardinals, it was death by 1,000 cuts, as they had no home runs in the game, but a couple of runs walked in and some RBI doubles, RBI singles, 2 RBI single from Jim Cott to help himself, and some errors sort of played into things as well. So a bit of a disastrous game for the old Dodgers. Not that I'm complaining. It's good to see that personally, but if you're a Dodger fan, I'm sorry. This was played with the brand new, newly released as of yesterday, 1980 season roster sheets for on-base baseball, and you can see here this is what they, this is what they look like. So it's basically spreadsheets of data that are given to you. This is everybody that got into a game in 1980. So you can see here even pitchers are getting in, and they were rated for on-base baseball. So you have batting, defense, and speed. These are your ratings, and then you have all of your statistics over here. So if Don Hood had needed a hit, we have even a reliever. We have his batting stats there as well. But you can see every team represented, and then we also have all of the pitchers. So you go through and you have the pitchers with their how they throw, what their role is, whether they're starter or reliever, their stamina, and then their FIP. And those are your stamina and your FIP are going to be really your gameplay components. But then you have all their stats over here as well. So it's a really cool book just to be able to peruse and to go through and see, maybe some of your favorite players or what are some surprises, guys who got into a game, etc. And on top of that, you can play out an entire season using just this. This is your whole season. And then all you need is a score sheet or a piece of paper or something to be able to record all of those values, and then 2d6s and a d10, and you're ready to rock and roll. I added in this for a little bit of extra oomph. The beauty of on-base baseball, it was actually created. It's kind of a vanilla game, and most people will be like, well, that's a pretty simplistic game. It's meant to be simple. So you can play just a super basic game, kind of like you would play APA Basic, or it's even more basic than APA or Strat. It's meant to be the look and feel of old dice rolling games. So like kids used to sit on a porch on a rainy day and just roll dice and play a game based off of a simple chart with 2d6 dice. So that's what it's meant to be. The difference is that we have added sabermetric stats. So these columns here are based off of a sabermetric stat called batting runs. You can also use weighted runs above average if you want to. The difference is batting runs is ballpark and era adjusted, but it's pretty close to weighted runs above average. And then for the pitchers, I use Sierra for newer seasons and FIP for some of these classic seasons, because we don't have all the StatCast and all that's necessary to create the Sierra past like before 2002. So anything pre-2002 is going to use FIP, and you could use FIP as well if you prefer that over Sierra, even for newer seasons. And then basically you separate the players out into their appropriate column, and you're just looking on each column. So it's got a little bit of a Stratomatic feel, but in terms of just ease of play and simplicity, it's got a little bit of an APA feel as well. So you should go out and try the game. You can get the you can get this. I'll put the link down in the description so you can go right to it and get this 1980 roster sheet season. If you prefer cards, I do carded sets as well, but they only come in PDF. They don't come in print. So you can go to clarkandaddisongaming.com, and I will put a link directly to the on-base baseball seasons, and you'll be able to see those. But you can get any season we have. We don't have every season. But there are some interesting options for on-base baseball since it's my oldest game. One is you can do the roster sheets. I have whole decades of roster sheets that you can buy. So if you only like to play the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s or the 1960s or whatever, you can buy an entire decade of these roster sheets for $20. But it's PDF only, or I think they're 15 now, but they're PDF only, and there's no printed version available. So if you want a printed version, you'll have to get a season at a time. That's what I'm planning now, because otherwise it's going to be 10 of these, which would be a pretty monster book at that point. So you can get a decade at a time if you want to, and you'll use the same game engine chart because it's over the course of a decade. I've averaged those results out, and then every player for that decade that got into a game is going to be given the right values to be able to play on-base baseball. So that's a great value. You can do a single season carded set where you get the cards and you get the roster sheets at the same time, but that's only in PDF. And so the cards, I have an example here of some of the cards. Here's a 1995. So here are some cards from 1995. This is the Braves. And these are just kind of basically cut out. I haven't done much with those, but you can see all the values here are represented on the cards. All the same information that you find in here is on the card. It's just put into a different format. So if the player is in this column here, all these results will match all of these results here. So this is obviously from 1990s. This is the 1980s game engine chart. So the 90s game engine chart is different. So what a minus 14 batting runs player looks like here might be just a little bit different than what they look like here. In fact, it's a single or a home run. If it's a 7, it's a single or a home run if it's a 6. So home runs a little more plentiful when you get into the 90s than they are in the 80s. And so that's why that is the case. So everything has been worked out for you. You just set it up, you play, you roll, and you'll be able to roll right off the cards if you use the carded set. If you use the roster sheet set, you're going to need the score sheet and you're going to need the game engine chart, and that's all you'll need. But it's your choice. If you look on the website, in the free section or in the on-base baseball collection, you're going to see the 1941 season. So if you want to try this out without buying anything, you can just download it for free, try it out. You get the entire season with cards and roster sheets, and so you'll be able to try everything out. That's sort of my demo season is 1941, so you can try that with no obligations or anything like that to buy. And then if you wanted to buy a different season, I have seasons from the 50s or the 40s all the way through to today, to the most modern seasons. So should be able to find something. There's some seasons in the 90s. We have this 1980 season. There's a few in the 70s. So you got some different seasons to choose from. So go and check that out. And you can also join the Facebook group. So I have an on-base baseball and a Clark and Addison Gaming Company Facebook group. So if you just want to know more about all the games that we do, I typically only post about on-base baseball in the on-base group. So if you want to know more about all the other things that we do, you should join the Facebook group for Clark and Addison Gaming Company. Just go to groups, do a search for that, and it should come up pretty quickly, the Clark and Addison Gaming Company. All right. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section below. This game started out a little rough, but evened itself out up in the end. I was like, well, maybe the game engine is broken, but it's not. It's fine. You just get these games sometimes that go a little bit sideways, right? You get a beginning here, beginning there, whatever. And that's just baseball and how it works sometimes. Even the best players get knocked around just a bit. And that happened to Don Sutton today. If you have not subscribed, click on subscribe. If you find yourself coming back here all the time, just click on subscribe and you'll be notified of new videos either in your subscriptions feed on YouTube or in the app when you click on subscriptions in the app. Or I believe you can also get notifications to your email address whenever someone you're subscribed to has posted something new. So you can get those notifications and know when new videos go up. I've had a few this week, or a couple this week, I guess. And so I usually average 1 or 2 a week here on the channel. Different games, because obviously we do football and basketball as well. But heavy concentration so far on baseball. Just released a new game called Precision Baseball. So if you're looking for something way more in depth than this, then you should check out those videos here on the YouTube channel. I have a playlist called Precision Baseball, and you can check out that game. There's full game replays of that using that game engine. And it does use a version of this, but the game is much more in-depth and detailed and precise. I don't really know how to explain it other than that. I call it a very robust, fully detailed baseball simulation. And so I think when you watch a video, you'll find out that that's what it is. And it uses cards that look like this. So these are the Precision Baseball cards for the Cubs. And you can see here, that's Yan Gomes. So a lot different look and feel for that game. But a very fun game, very cool game. And takes a little bit longer. It probably takes about twice as long as it does to play on-base baseball. So kind of depending on what you're looking for or what you wanted to get out of it. And I guess the downside at this point is 2023 is the only season available because it just released. So I'm still working at how to do classic seasons for that game. So you can check that out. There's lots of other content here. I've got a couple of football games and a basketball game, and I'm always experimenting with new game engines or new ideas. So you can check those out too. And then I have a couple of videos of like what I'm working on, which typically while I'm not really producing anything or publishing anything new, I'll show you what I've been working on. I'm still working on a digital version of On-Base Baseball where you could go online and play with the cards and play an online version of that game, or at least have online cards. There's also an online dice roller for On-Base Baseball, and I'll share the link down in the description for that as well. So if you are on the go or you just need a quiet something, you can't really roll dice, maybe you're on a plane or something like that and you want to play, you can pull up the online version of the dice roller and you get 2 D6s plus a true D9. So there's no D10, it's a D9, and you can kind of play the game in its true sense when you do that. So you can also download the game guide for free if you go to clarkandaddisongaming.com. You go to the free section on the shop all games, click the big green button, and then down the left side you'll see free, and you can go to the free section and download On-Base Baseball's quick start guide. And then the quick start guide, you can kind of get a sense of the game as well. Hopefully you got a pretty good sense of it here, but it goes into a little bit more depth, or if you're just better with words, that would be something that you can download for free as well. Okay, I think that's it from here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you really like it, just share it with somebody. That's a great way to support what I'm doing here. And if you really like On-Base Baseball, go out and purchase the season. And on social media or forums or whatever, share the games that you're playing. That's typically how games grow in this community, is people share what they're doing, especially if they're excited about a game or if they're intrigued by a new game. They just tell other people about it. Hey, check this out. This is where you can go. Feel free to share that, clarkandaddisongaming.com, and tell people about what we're doing here. We're trying to make games that are fun, realistic, typically based on newer advanced stats or sabermetric stats, and and trying to fit games into busy life schedules. I'm in my mid-40s and I have teenagers, just like many people. And so it's just kind of one of those things where maybe you need quicker playing games or games that cut a few corners here and there that will fit into your life just a little bit better. 1 hour or less typically is where my games fall. I have a couple that are longer, but when you compare them to other long play games, they're actually shorter. So thinking about the football game, thinking about detailed baseball game like precision baseball. So trying to fit those things into busy life schedules is not easy, I understand. And so trying to make games that are focused on doing that. And so we can get our game on and still not interrupt our lives or take a huge chunk out away from our families. All right, I think that's it from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.